So for all you Seattle Seahawks fans out there, are you also Oklahoma City Thunder fans?
Yeah, that's what I wonder, because they were originally the Supersonics.
Right,
know?
That would make sense, right?
Yeah. Could you imagine if the Thunder win the championship? I don't know if most Seattle Seahawks fans follow the Thunder and root for them, but imagine if they win the championship this year.
I'm going to tell you what, since we're talking about the Thunder, no one right now is hotter than Kevin Durant. And you know what? I only think there's one person who can slow him down.
Who?
Russell Westbrook.
Right, because LeBron
I'm not kidding. He won't get his touches. And Durant and Westbrook are two totally different players too.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Once Westbrook comes back into that definitely will change Durant's, the amount of touches he gets and stuff like this. And LeBron has come out and said, you know what? I can't cover him one-on-one. He said it. He's like, that's one of the reasons I think LeBron will end up in the West, is because he said he wishes that he could play him every time, a few times a year and stuff, because it makes him better. And I think he feels like he's not being challenged in the East. And you kind of got to agree with it. Like, who is challenging LeBron James in the East right now?
Right now it's Paul George, and that's about it. And they don't match up. They don't match up unless LeBron goes out and covers them, because Paul George doesn't touch him on defense.
Yep.
Paul George is having one hell of a season. He's a superstar in the making. But you got to rise to the challenge. You got when the big dog comes in your house, you got to want to go after him, because that's LeBron. LeBron will guard your best defender, whether he's your point guard or your center. He doesn't care. He understands that's his job, and he knows he's the best defender on the floor, and he will attack you.
Right. Now, speaking of big dog, and since we're talking about the Pacers and they're one of the front runners in the East and stuff, what do you, as a Heat fan, feel about the signing of Andrew Bynum? What do you think?
I'm not
honestly?
and you know what? I'm not. To say I'm not too worried about it would be an understatement. The guy is a cancer. The guy, it destroys locker rooms, destroys teams, and I don't know if this move is enough. He had a sit-down 3-hour dinner with the team and convinced them to sign him. They've signed him. He's playing for peanuts. And in all honesty, I hope the kid gets his life together and realizes he's a good basketball player and returns to the LA Laker form that won him championships. And that's just me concerned, or not concerned, but it's sad to see somebody with that much talent just pissing it away and having no interest in trying to be better.
Right. I agree with you. I mean, I think, the Pacers have the best front court in the NBA right now. Their inside presence is fucking just crazy. And that's what's hurting other teams in the East from trying to be able to compete with them. And I think you add Andrew Bynum into the mix. If Andrew Bynum comes back and gives you any type of significant play, you have so much depth, because he's third on the depth charts. So,
right. Or even, right now, look, I said it weeks, months, a long time ago. The Pacers have played a lot of minutes. Their starting five have been on the court for a lot of time. Andrew Bynum is going to help Roy Hibbert relax and take some time off. And they shouldn't lose quality. I mean, and when Bynum goes in the game, he's just as good as Hibbert, if not better. He's definitely more athletic and quicker. At least he used to be before the 97 knee surgeries. And I mean, I don't know if he's trimmed down that big ass afro to help with aerodynamics.
Need some hell of a clippers for that
as a Heat
shit.
fan, I don't like the signing, but I'm glad the Heat didn't sign him. I think he's a locker room problem.
Well, one of the things, the things was Indiana. They said that the Pacers jumped on Bynum because they felt like if the Heat signed him and the Heat were in the mix, that would hurt them. That would hurt. That would hurt the chances. And in a perfect world, if you're an Indiana Pacer fan, if Andrew Bynum comes in there and gets motivated and says, "You know what? I want another ring. I want to do this. And if I perform, get another ring, then maybe I can go off and get my career rejuvenated." Because he's still young. He fucking came out of high school. So
while we're sticking in the East with the team that had Andrew Bynum this season, the Cavaliers have gone and fired their GM.
Grant. Yeah, they got rid of Grant. They were just like, fuck it. And can you blame them?
No, mind you, while I'm sitting here, these are some of Grant's highlights. Drafting Anthony Bennett, who's averaging less than 4 points a game and is not even in Rookie of the Year contention. And mind you, he went number 1. Let me just throw out these names for you. Michael Carter-Williams, point guard for the 76ers. Trey Burke, point guard for Utah. Okay, neither one of those would have been a good fit in Cleveland, because they already have point guards. Victor Oladipo, as a 2 or a 3, would have been a nice compliment to Kyrie Irving. Tim Hardaway Jr., shooting guard. Or in this, have you seen this kid for Milwaukee? This Greek kid?
No. No.
Okay, and I say Greek kid because I cannot pronounce this kid's name. His first name is Giannis, Giannis, and his last name is, dude, he is crazy. Like, his wingspan is of somebody who's like 7'3". His hand looks like something out of Alien. He's crazy.
And he's balling, huh?
Yeah, he's balling. He's number 4 in the rookie ratings. So all I'm saying is anyone drafted after number 1, you could have just looked at the GM for the Cavaliers like, who does your scouting? Like, when Anthony Bennett got picked, I was like, who?
Well, this is the thing, too. It's like, at some point in time, as the GM of the Cleveland Cavaliers over the last 4 years, not only have you had the opportunity to get so many number 1, I mean, look at how lucky and fortunate you were in the lottery. Like, you could have had, if you did any type of research or the right, research and had the right scouting, you would have known who you need to build a team. I mean, because you basically had the luck of the draw, and then you had basically the cream of the crop. I mean, and nothing happened. I mean, the Cavaliers are worse than they were a couple of years ago. I mean, they just have not done shit and haven't been even remotely in contention since LeBron left. And it's like, I know Dan Gilbert is fucking shitting himself, but obviously got off the pot and he fired Grant, and so maybe. Like I said, I after LeBron James left, and I don't agree with the announcement or anything, and you know what, LeBron James has even gone back and said, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I hope Dan Gilbert wins nothing ever for the rant and the tirade he went on when LeBron left, and I sat there and I questioned, like, who would ever come play for this guy? Yeah, he really fucking burned a lot of bridges, in my opinion, because you know what? At the end of the day, they're players and they're looking out for their careers and money. And maybe the way LeBron did it was up, but you know what? Everybody knew he was leaving. You know what I mean? Everybody knew he was going.
Yeah, and he's going to be leaving Miami, and they're talking about going and him teaming up with Chris Paul III, which should be. I wouldn't mind it. I mean, he'd finally have a competent point guard, because I don't care what anyone says. They do. I'm not thinking they're huge fans of Mario Chalmers, and
I'm telling you what, I think the best point guard in the game right now, and people are going to argue the point, I think John Wall's the best point guard. I think no one's looking at him because he's playing for the Wizards, but if you look at what the Washington's doing, and on their just recent trip out to the West, what they did against the Thunder, what they did against the Trailblazers, and almost beating the Spurs in double overtime. I mean, John Wall, you look at his numbers and how athletic he is. The guy's in the slam dunk contest, like we talked about before the camera came on. He is starting to blossom, man. And at first, you didn't hear much about him because everybody on the Wizards, it wasn't that they weren't talented, but they could never get in sync because they were kind of like the Lakers are this year. They just were all hurt, and now you've got a team that's healthy and it's developing and they're playing together. And they're sitting at 500. They're 5th place in the East. And you know what? I said it before, and I'm going to beat it in everybody's head. I don't think any team wants to play this team in the playoffs, man. They could
and right now, sitting at 500 puts him in the 5 spot, and that would put him up against the Hawks. And I think they'd beat the Hawks in a 5-game series. Is it still 5 and then 7s, or is it 7s the whole way through?
It's I don't know if this first one is 5 or 7. I can't remember because they changed that shit so much. But you know what? The Hawks are actually one team that they've struggled with a little bit. It's so funny how, the big teams like Indiana, the Hawks, stuff like that. But I mean, when you run, don't run with the Wizards. Like the Thunder, those teams that move fast up and down the court. These guys are young and fast, and they have probably one of the best defenses out there with Trevor Ariza and all these guys and Nene. They don't give up a lot of points. I mean, it's rare that you see someone scoring 100 points on the Wizards, and I think that's one thing.
And my opinion of basketball has always been, if you can't score, that's something like you can work on and get better at. To play defense, all you have to do is try.
Yeah.
Playing defense is just hustle and heart and determination. I mean, yeah, you can kind of work on it, but it's not like a jump shot or a post move or any of that. It's just determination and heart and grit. And like, are you going to get in there and get physical and press somebody? No one wants somebody right on top of them all game long. That doesn't take any skill.
No, and if you keep doing it, people get frustrated. They start getting anxious, and then they make passes and stuff that are not, that aren't in their best interest, and that's when they start making turnovers. I mean, when you're constantly pressing people, and that's that's exactly what the Wizards have done all this year, George. Now, before we get into college basketball, let me touch on one other thing. I mean, what do you think about Phoenix thinking about trying to acquire the rights to Pau Gasol?
Haven't the Suns backed off that?
I mean, they're obviously the Suns are concerned about his health, but I'm going to tell you what. I got to believe that Mitch Kupchak is licking his chops on this one right now, because if they can dump off Powell, get rid of some of that money, and also the Phoenix is sitting on all kinds of they've got 4 number 1 round picks, first round picks next season. And we know how many good players are in that class. They've got 4, and they're willing to come up off of some of them. So to me, I say, okay, why would you want to go for a player that's 31, 32 years old, been, kind of banged up and stuff like that? I don't know what they see in it, but I guess their management thinks that Phoenix can make a run this year, but I don't even think Pau Gasol's going to put him over the top. I don't think he's going to put him in the top 4. Do you?
No, Pau Gasol is not going to get Phoenix in the playoffs in the West. I don't. Yeah. I mean, they got a long road to hoe, dude. That's not.
I mean, they're going to be I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think Phoenix is one of the hot teams. I mean, I think they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they'll go far in the playoffs because those top 4 teams they're kind of tough.
Right now, Phoenix is sitting at 29-20. That puts them at the 7th spot.
The 7th spot. So I think they'll make the playoffs.
So they would be matched up with the Spurs.
Right, which is,
it's not a fun opening round matchup.
It isn't a fun opening round matchup. Now, I tell you what, I want to see, I love Pau Gasol, I like what he did for the Los Angeles Lakers, but obviously they're like the Celtics and they need to rebuild. I want to see this trade happen because I feel like, you know what? They're going to dump some money off. They're going to get under that luxury tax. And at the same time, they could get maybe a draft pick or another, or maybe 2 first rounders from this move.
Right.
And save money.
I think the Lakers should have unloaded Powell when Kobe tore his Achilles.
They should have, and
why wait another year? You just put another season on that guy's legs. I think you'd have got more for him last year than you're going to get this year. And if you get a chance to land Wiggins or some of these other kids that are coming out, because that's the goal. The Lakers want a shot. You just need to be in there and hope that your team's in that ping pong ball.
Yeah. Well, they've got basically 2 weeks to decide. Because the trade deadline's on the 20th, and so.
And let me tell you, at 17-32, if I'm the Lakers, I'm telling Kobe, why don't you just stay home? I mean, you'd have to make a concerted effort to do worse than the Bucks, who are 9-40.
And the problem is
no. Did you 9-40?
Yeah, I know. No, 9-40. The Bucks they are the worst team in the league, aren't they? Right now,
they are 30 games out
already.
29.5 games out of first place.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, forget it. Yeah, Bucks fans, I know you guys aren't happy.